Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Fine. Let's do some questions. Do you have any problems, doubts?
Yeah. So
Hmm.
from the quadratic equations worksheet, I could only do the first 7 from level 1. Like the rest, I didn't know how to do at all.
So first 7 you did,
Yeah.
and after that you're facing some problems.
Yeah.
Okay. Eighth one, you tried.
Yeah, I tried 8th one because it had logarithms. And
Uh,
I mean, I have a rough idea of how to solve it, but like I'm not very sure.
okay, one sec. Quadratic equations and expressions, exercise 1, question 8. Fine. So this is 7 power log 7 x square minus 4x plus 5. 7 power log 7 x square minus 4x plus 5 is equal to
X minus 1.
x minus 1. Okay. So first thing to notice here is when you do logs, right? Log something, some a log base a of b, right? So whenever you have this, you need to understand that b must be positive and a must be positive. Also, a should not be 1.
Yeah.
Okay, these are definitions for log. Like you cannot define a log where b is negative and where a is negative or a is 0 or b is 0. These are not defined. Okay,
Yeah.
and a cannot be 1 also. So in this case, if you look at the log, there is 7 and down, which is fine, which makes that a is greater than 0 and a is not equal to 1. And there's this thing on top, which also has to be greater than 0, right?
Yeah.
So this
That
has to be greater than 0. And this is fairly obvious because you can see that it is actually greater than 0 because it's x minus 2 whole square plus 1, right?
Yeah.
This is x square minus 4x plus 4 plus 1, right? So there is no problem here. Like in case this condition was not true, then you have to exclude those values of x which make it less than 0 or equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
Like suppose I had written x square minus 4x plus 3 here, right? Then it is not necessary that this expression is always positive because it would have been x minus 2 whole square minus 1, no?
Yeah.
That is not necessarily always positive. So in that case, I would have to remove the cases where it becomes 0 or less than 0, right?
Yeah.
Those cases of x are not allowed. So in this case, there is no such problem. So now we can go back to the question itself. And what did you think? 7 power log 7 will give this
Yeah, that
one.
was the part which I didn't get because 7, like number power log number. I think it becomes just 1, but I mean, I'm not sure.
So 2 power log 2 something, right? Let's think about what this is, right? So if I want to I want to find out what x is, right? Correct.
Yes.
So let's take a log on both sides, right? We can take a log base e, right, on both sides.
Yeah.
So you know what this e is, right? Natural
Yeah.
log.
Euler's number.
So that is 2.71828. That is just a number. So what I will do is I will take a log on both sides. So what it becomes is log e 2 power log 2 5 is equal to log e x, right? So now
Yeah.
you know properties of logarithms where you know that this power will come out here, right?
Yeah.
Basically log of a power b will be b log a, right?
Yeah.
So this will become log base 2 5 multiplied by log base e2 is equal to log ex, right?
Yeah.
Now, do you know about the base change property of logarithm?
Yeah. I know.
So what you can say is log base 2 5 can be written as log base e5 by log base e2, right?
Yeah.
This property, if you are aware of, then this is over, because I will just write log base 2 5 here as log base e5 by log base e2, and you have to multiply it by log base e2, right? And
Yeah.
that is equal to log base ex, right? So log base e2 log base e2 cancel, right? So finally you are ending up with the equation log base e5 is equal to log base ex, right?
Yes.
So then x is equal to 5, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So this means that here 2 power log 2 5 is equal to 5. And think about why it makes sense. It makes sense intuitively, because what is the meaning of a logarithm? Suppose
Removing the power.
uh, so this statement means that a power y is equal to b, right?
Yeah.
So think about what log 2 5 means, right? Log 2 5 would have meant that it is
Power X is
2
5.
power x is 5, right? This is what it means, right?
Yeah.
So what are you doing here? You are raising 2 to the power this thing, right? And that was x, no?
Yeah.
So this is just 2 power x, where x is log 2 5, and by definition that means 2 power x is 5, no?
Yeah.
Basically log base 2 5 is the power that you need to raise 2 to get 5, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
in the question it is 2 power that power only, right?
Yeah.
So it must be 5, right? So anytime you have 7, for example, log 7 x square minus 4x plus 5, that means what was the real meaning, or in
X
words
square
what was the
minus
meaning?
4x plus 5 is equal to x minus 1.
That is the actual simplification, but pay attention to what the meaning of this is. This is the value of this log is a number which, if you raise 7 to that power, it should give x square minus 4x plus 5, right?
Yeah.
Right? So here you are actually raising 7 to that power only, no? So it should be x square minus 4x plus 5, right?
Yes.
Correct. So
Yeah.
then the question becomes very easy. It becomes x square minus 4x plus 5 is equal to x minus 1, right? So it becomes x square minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. So x can be 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
So that is this one, 8th one. 9th one you can ignore because it is a different maths. It is coordinate geometry actually that they are checking here. Okay. So 9th one you can ignore. 10th one. Think about 10th one. Have you seen 10th one before?
Well, something similar, like you make x squared equal to something else.
So you have 3x power 10 minus 5x square plus 7 is equal to 0. And they are asking you whether this is an equation, expression, identity, none of these, right? So basically you need to understand the meaning of these three terms: equation, expression, and identity, right?
It's an equation.
It is obviously an equation, but is it an identity? What is the difference between an equation and an identity?
Identity is constant.
No, identity is true for all values of x.
Yeah.
It's a statement which is always true.
Yeah.
Values of x. equation is only true for specific values, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Equations have solutions. Identities don't have solutions because they are always true. For
Always true.
example, a square plus b square plus 2ab is equal to a plus b whole square is true for any value of a and b, right?
Yes.
So that's why this is called an identity, right? So,
Yeah.
so this doesn't seem like an identity, right? Like, because it's not
You can put
necessary.
different values of x in.
So if you put different values of x, it is not necessarily going to be 0, right? So this is obviously an equation. So this is a very straightforward question. Why is it not an expression? Because there is an
Because
equal.
it's not, because it's equated to something.
That's why it is not an expression. Okay, so this is fine. Then, 11th one,
I think it's b. The discriminant has to be 0.
perfect square. 11th one. See the expression. He's saying x square plus ex plus q will be perfect square. Will be perfect square of a linear expression. Perfect square of a linear expression. What does that mean?
It has only one solution, one real solution.
It will be a solution if you make it a first an equation, right? Right now it's not even an equation, right?
Yeah.
So just think on the English of it. What does the statement mean? It means that this thing is perfect square of a linear expression. A linear expression will look like this, right?
Yes.
Perfect square of this. This thing is equal to perfect square of this, right? That is the question.
Yeah.
Okay. So perfect square would look like a square x square plus b square plus 2axb, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Of a general linear expression. Now these two expressions will be same if all the coefficients are matching, right?
Yeah.
So clearly a square should be 1.
Yeah.
So a can be plus or minus 1, right?
Yeah.
And q should be equal to b square and p should be equal to 2ab, right?
Yes.
Correct. So p should be equal to basically plus or minus 2b because a has to be plus or minus 1.
Yeah.
Right. So p square will be equal to 4b square.
Yeah.
And 4b square is q, so 4q.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
P square should be equal to 4q. Only then you will have all the expressions matching, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Actually, just hold on a second. Let her understand this now.
Yeah. Basically, this you have to focus on the words of the question. What is he asking? He's not asking you to solve any equation. He's asking you to say that when will this quadratic be the square of a linear expression?
P square minus 4q equals 0.
But that is the answer. We don't care about the answer. We care about how did we get there, right?
Yeah.
We took a linear expression, we squared it, and then we saw that it looked like this: a square x square plus 2abx plus b square. And the question is saying, when will this be equal to this, right? After that, we were just matching the coefficients, right? Here there is a 1, here there is a 2ab must be p, here there is a q.
Yeah, now it makes sense.
You understood the process, right?
Yeah.
I think the
So-
important part is to understand the process.
So important is to look at the question and not go in with any preconceived notions, right? Like as soon as you saw the question, you started saying discriminant and all, right?
Yeah.
But discriminant and all comes in only when you actually think about an equation, right? If you had to solve an equation, you would have done a discriminant. But right now, he's not even asking you for any equation. He's just asking you when it will be perfect square of a linear expression, right?
Yeah.
So just go with a blank slate. Don't assume that you know what is going to happen, right? Just see what is there, and accordingly you have to adjust your solution process, right? So yeah.
I think actually just a minute. I think this is important. How to approach to
Correct,
understand the method. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that can be explained. And you're recording today, right? So that she can
yeah,
go back and replay it. The last three classes, probably she didn't have any notes, so she was struggling a bit.
Okay. I mean, I have recorded the previous 1 or 2 classes also. I can send you the links. I'll send them.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Why,
Yeah.
it'll be good. Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
And also, for her to refer back to any theory notes, when you're teaching, I know you're writing it, but do you have any theory notes you want to share, or what books she should refer to if she has to revise this?
So actually, like, I don't have any specific notes for theory here, but there are some standard books that you can read. There is right now the topics that we are doing is there in Higher Algebra by Hall and Knight.
Hall and Knight. Okay, got it.
Right. So this is very good book, and you can refer to this book for any source, any reference material, and any extra reading that you have to do. As and when we go along and we do different topics, I will suggest whatever recommended books are there. But more or less, the attitude that we are taking to learning is about problem solving. So it is about, once we discuss the theory, the recordings will be available to you. You can go back to read see the theory again. But mostly it's about practicing more problems and getting the hang of how to solve problems. So,
Right.
so the more she practices, so this time she has attempted, maybe I'm expecting she has done progression and series, that booklet also, and the quadratic expressions booklet. So the more you do problems, the more you will feel comfortable with the classes. And you have to ask if you have any problems, anything you are stuck on, you have to ask. You don't have to feel shy about it or anything, right? So feel free to ask as many questions as possible.
And you can stop. Sorry, can you repeat the previous step?
Yeah. All that is fine.
Sometimes the sir could be going faster, but if you want to regress it back, please ask. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's continue. Yeah.
So that was this one. That was 11th one. 12th one we have seen already, right?
Yeah.
12th one we have done that transformation of equations theory, if you remember. Right? I think we did this in the class itself.
Yeah. First we square rooted, then we
so given an equation, first we made it a square b square c square new equation, right? Yeah. How do you make a new equation with a square b square c square as roots?
U square root x.
So instead of x you put root x, right?
Yeah.
Once you have a new equation with these roots, you have to make new equation with roots these, right?
Yeah.
So basically, how do you do that? You, instead of x, you put 1 by x, right?
Oh.
Reciprocal.
Yeah.
So when you need reciprocal roots, you have to do 1 by x. So for example, take a simple equation, x square minus 5x plus 6, right? This has roots what? 2 and 3. Correct. I need a new equation with roots, let's say half and 1 by 3, right? So let's try out doing reciprocal. 1 by x square minus 5 by x plus 6 is equal to 0, right?
Yeah, so then you will multiply by x squared.
So it will become this equation, right?
Yeah.
Now check the roots of this equation. It will be 1 by 2 and 1 by 3. Check 1 by 2, it will fit. 6 by 4 minus 5 by 2. So 10 by 4 plus 1. So minus 4 by 4 plus 1, right?
Yeah.
So this reciprocal method, so again you are doing a second transformation. So first transformation when you do, you will get a new equation, right? Simplify it. When you put root x, there might be some terms which have roots and all, right? Remove all the roots. You understand? How do you remove all the roots? By squaring.
Yes.
Right. So just simplify it to make it look like a regular polynomial equation, and then do the next step, which is taking reciprocals.
So this works with equations or expressions of any power?
This works. This method of transformation of equation will work as long as all the roots are undergoing the same transformation, right? So it should not be that 1 by a square and 2b and 1 by c square, right? Then it will not work.
Oh yeah.
All the roots should have the same change happening, right? If you have the same change that happens, what you have to do is do the opposite of that change, right? Inverse transformation on x.
Yeah.
Right? Also, there is another way to do that question without transformation of equations, which is just finding the value directly, right? By Vieta's relations, correct? So if I have to find this, I will just do ABC whole square, and on top is what? A square B square plus B square C square plus C square A square, right?
Yes.
So now I have to figure out this value. I know things like A plus B plus C, AB plus BC plus CA, and ABC, right?
Yeah.
These are the things that I know. So how to find this? Maybe I have to square this, right? Correct. So you understand, numerator is what we need to find. No, we already know denominator, right?
Wait, how do you know the denominator?
Because ABC we already know, no?
Product of roots.
Product of roots you already know in the original equation.
How do you get the product of roots?
Because we have discussed this. Suppose the equation is x cube minus px square plus qx minus r. We have written the Vieta relations. No, what is a plus b plus c?
Oh, R over 1.
For what is a plus b plus c here? No, not r over 1. It is p. It starts from this side with a minus sign, right?
Yeah.
You remember this is sum of taking one at a time,
Yes. Yeah.
and sum taking two at a time, ab plus bc plus ca, is going to be plus q. This is p minus of minus p by 1. This is plus q by 1. And sum taking three at a time will be, this is plus and this is minus. So minus of minus r by 1. So r. You remember there was a class where we had done this.
Yeah.
Do you remember right now, or do I have to tell you more here?
I remember you mentioned it, but I didn't really understand it back then.
You didn't really understand it.
Yeah.
But then that time you should have told me, no? You told me in that class that you understood.
Yeah, I get the laws, but I just don't get the plus minus thing.
That day also you were not getting it. Then we discussed in detail and we got it. 1 second. This is my cubic equation. Multiply it. X cube. Multiply it and get the real cubic. This is x square minus 3x plus 2 multiplied by x minus 3. So what is it coming? X cube minus 3x square plus 2x minus 3x square plus 9x minus 6 is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
It is coming x cube minus 6x square plus 11x minus 6.
Yes.
I already know the roots of this equation, no? I already know that 1, 2, 3 are the roots of this equation, right?
Yeah.
Now tell me, what is the sum of the roots taken one at a time? Sum of roots taken one at a time. So basically 1 plus 2 plus 3, that is 6. What is the sum of roots taken two at a time? Taken two at a time. Two at a time means take two of them, multiply them, then add other such pairs. So basically 1 into 2,
11.
1 into 3 plus 2 into 3. Coming out to be 11.
Yeah.
And sum of roots taken 3 at a time. Basically that will be just product of the roots, right?
6.
Product of roots is 6. 1 into 2 into 3 is 6. Now what we are capturing by Vieta's relation is, this case we knew the answers, right? You knew the roots. That's why you are able to find this, right?
Yeah.
If this equation was directly given to you, right now you don't know the answers, right? Right now you don't know what the roots are, alpha, beta, gamma, right?
I don't know.
So if you want to find out alpha plus beta plus gamma, can you now see that how will I get alpha plus beta plus gamma? There is a relation between this coefficient and the answer, right?
Yes.
What do you have to do? This coefficient is minus 6. So you have to put a minus sign by 1, which is this coefficient.
Yeah.
And second coefficient, when you do alpha beta plus beta gamma plus gamma alpha, this coefficient is plus 11 only. And the answer is also plus 11, right?
Yes.
So you have to put a plus sign, 11 by 1.
Yeah.
And last coefficient is again minus 6. But answer is what? Product of the roots, 3 at a time. It is plus 6, right?
Yes.
So alpha, beta, gamma, you have to put a minus sign again and write minus 6 by 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the signs are alternating. This is minus, this is plus, this is minus. Next term could have been plus. Are you understanding right now what is happening?
Yeah, I get it.
1 second. I doubt that a little bit. Let's take a situation like x minus 1, x plus 2, x minus 3, x. This is a fourth degree equation.
Yeah.
Actually, not x. I'll take x minus 2, let's say. Fourth degree equation. Now, we can multiply and get the equation actually x square minus 4 into x square minus 4x plus 3 and multiply it out, x power 4 minus 4x cube plus 3x square minus 4x square plus 16x minus 12. So you get x power 4 minus 4x cube minus x square plus 16x minus 12 is equal to 0, right?
Yes.
Now forget about the actual way in which we got it. I know the roots are 1, minus 2, 3, and 2, right?
Yeah.
This is alpha, beta, gamma, delta. These are my roots. But if I had not gotten this equation, right, I will rub off this part. I have just this equation given to me. Right now, I don't know alpha, beta, gamma, delta, right?
Yeah, you don't.
But you will still be able to find 4 things. You will be able to find 1, alpha plus beta plus gamma plus delta. You will be able to find alpha, beta, 2 at a time, alpha, gamma, alpha, delta plus beta, gamma plus beta, delta plus gamma, delta. 6 terms will come when you get 2 at a time. Then 3 at a time. 3 at a time will be alpha, beta, gamma plus alpha, beta, delta plus beta, gamma, delta plus one more term, alpha, gamma, delta. You
Yeah.
understand? There's no other 3 at a time pair.
Yeah.
And finally 4 at a time, which is just product of the roots. These 4 things are coming from Vieta's relations, and that is what we want to understand. Like, given an equation, you should be able to find these things
Yeah.
by just looking at the equation. So by just looking at the equation, not looking at the roots, you don't know the roots right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So by just looking at the equation, I can say
Minus of minus 4.
minus of minus 4 by 1 and
Positive of
plus
minus 1.
plus of minus 1 by 1, then minus of
Minus of
16 by 1 and plus of minus 12 by 1, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is what my predictions are from Vieta. Now check all of this. Add up the roots. What is it? Simply 4.
Yeah.
And that is correct. This is minus of minus 4 is 4. Right?
Yeah.
Now do product of the roots 2 at a time. So let's do 1 into minus 2 is minus 2. 1 into 3 is plus 3. 1 into 2 is plus 2. Minus 6, minus 4, plus 6, right? I have done every term. So
Yeah.
this cancels. 5 minus 4, 1 minus 2. So minus 1. See, this is minus 1, no? You understand?
Yeah.
Now do 3 at a time. Every relation you can confirm. Do fourth, last one is easy to do. Let's just do products of all of them. It will be
It'll
minus
definitely
12.
be negative.
It is minus 12 also,
Yeah.
which is what we are getting here, right?
Yeah.
So now in an unknown equation, when you don't know the root, still you should be able to write. Suppose this was not known, right? You will still be able to find these four things, no? Vieta's relation.
Even
Just
if the roots are imaginary or something like that.
every time. It is always true.
Oh.
Roots, real, imaginary, it doesn't matter. It's always correct. So this thing is very useful. Like for example, roots are real or imaginary. Suppose this is the equation, right? This has definitely got imaginary roots, no? There is no
Yeah.
real roots for this, right? So let's say alpha and beta are two roots. They are imaginary roots, but still alpha plus beta will be equal to the
Zero.
second term is 0, right? Correct. And alpha into beta will be equal to minus and plus, right? So plus 1, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Now,
Yeah.
actually, when you do complex numbers, the roots of this x square is equal to minus 1. Minus 1 can be written as I square, and x will be plus or minus I. So one root is I, one root is minus I. Right now, you don't know that, but it's fine. So I plus minus I will be 0, and I into minus I will be minus I square, which is I square is minus 1. Therefore, this is 1. So it is even true for complex roots. Right now, you don't know it, but don't worry about it. This relation will always be true for any equation, as long as you are writing the relations correctly. Okay.
Yeah.
So given any equation, so now look at the equation that is given to us, right? X cube minus px square plus qx minus r is equal to 0. And what is given? A, B, C are roots, right?
Yeah.
So let's write what we know first. A plus B plus C will be, it starts off with minus sign, right? Minus of minus P by 1, right?
Yeah. Second one. So yeah.
Then AB plus BC plus CA will be equal
Positive Q over 1.
to, and third is ABC, which is equal to minus of minus R
over 1.
over 1. So this is R, this is Q, this is P, right?
Yeah.
So we know these three things, and we are supposed to find 1 by A square plus 1 by B square plus 1 by C square, right?
Yeah.
And we are not doing the transformation of equations method, we are doing the Vieta relation method, right?
Yeah.
So what I need to do is just find out the value of this. So taking common denominator, it becomes B square C square plus C square A square plus A square B square, right? And now see that you already know ABC, right?
Yeah.
So denominator is not a problem for you. Numerator right now you don't know, right?
Yeah.
So numerator, I know this is Q, so I can square it, right? Because that will give me B square C square type of terms, right?
Yeah. It will.
So therefore it will give me A square B square plus B square C square plus C square A square plus 2 times each of the products. So
ABCs.
AB into BC, so A B square C plus 2 times B C square A plus 2 times A square BC, right?
Yeah.
Is equal to Q square I'm getting, right?
Yeah.
And I need to find out this part. So clearly that part is equal to, so let's say that part is X, this part. X is equal to Q square minus this thing, right?
Yeah.
So take 2 ABC common here, you will see that it is A plus B plus C. See?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So this is equal to Q square minus 2 ABC is 2R and A plus B plus C is P, right?
Yeah.
So this X part is Q square minus 2RP, right?
Yes.
So the numerator is Q square minus 2RP and denominator is R square. That is my answer. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Makes
this
a
is
lot more sense now.
so this is Vieta's relation. This is faster, but transformation of equations is also a method, right? You know that also.
Yeah.
That is not going to utilize Vieta's relations, but you will realize that after doing all of that, you will get that same expression from transformation of equations also.
Yeah.
You understand? Finally, you will get an equation which has 1 by a square, 1 by b square, and 1 by c square as roots. And the second term of that equation will be the answer, right?
Yes.
Something like this, x cube minus something into x. That second term will be the sum of the roots, right? That second term should,
Second term, yes, yes,
Ah.
it will.
second term should be related to the sum of the roots, right?
Because one at a time, yeah.
One at a time sum. So that is question number 11. Now let's look at some other ones. Question 13 looks slightly weird.
Oh, let me see that question.
Roots of this equation are real, imaginary, rational, irrational. A, B, C are real numbers.
Okay.
Question 13. Okay. A, B, C are real. Roots of x minus a, x minus b, x minus a, x minus b, plus x minus b, x minus c, x minus c, x minus b. Okay.
You can't factorize anything out.
Right now, directly you can't do anything. Is equal to 0. Okay. So we have to find roots, find some idea. We have to get an idea about the roots of this, right?
There'll only be two roots. It's
There
quadratic.
will only be two roots, but we have to understand the nature of the roots, right?
Yeah.
So let's think about it a little bit. One way to think is first expand a little and make it one nice quadratic. So this will be like this, right? Plus AB, plus this will be like this, b plus cx plus bc, and this will be like this, x square minus c plus ax plus ca is equal to 0, right?
Yes.
So the equation overall becomes 3x square minus x, and you add up all the x coefficients, right? So a plus b plus b plus c plus c plus a is 2 times a plus b plus c, right?
Yeah.
Plus ab plus bc plus ca is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
So this is my equation. Now I have to figure out, now the equation is in the correct form, right? It is in looking like this now.
Yeah.
So let's look at the discriminant of this, because discriminant will give us some idea, right?
Yes.
Discriminant of this equation will be 4 times a plus b plus c whole square, where I'm squaring this term, minus
4 times 3 times
12 times ab plus bc plus ca, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. So now take 4 common, and this will become a plus b plus c whole square minus 3 ab plus bc plus ca, right?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's simplify the discriminant in the next screen. So discriminant is 4 times a plus b plus c whole square minus 3 times ab plus bc plus ca. Okay. So this square, if you remember, the square will have 2ab plus 2bc plus 2ca, right?
Yeah.
So you can write it as a square plus b square plus c square plus 2ab plus 2bc plus 2ca minus 3ab minus 3bc minus 3ca, right?
Yeah.
So it will be just simply this,
Yes.
right? Great. So now there is a nice trick here which will tell you things. So the trick is this. I need to find out whether discriminant is positive, negative, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
If discriminant was positive, roots are real.
Yeah.
If discriminant is negative, roots are imaginary.
Yeah.
So basically I have to decide the sign of this thing inside the bracket, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how do we do that? Right now, there is no way to do it, but what I will do is by completing the square. So,
Oh, wait.
so
But
whenever
there's 3 terms.
there are this terms, right? So this, if I had a 2ab, 2bc, 2ca, then you have some idea what to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But the problem is that there are not enough square terms then, right?
Yeah.
because two of them will be used already, no? Like a square plus b square would have been used with 2ab.
But
And
isn't
then
the previous one the completed square form?
which one?
The a plus b plus c whole square minus 3.
That's why we will change that and make it in a different, nicer way. No, not like a plus b plus c whole square. I'm trying to get it as a plus a minus b whole square, right?
Oh, you should. Oh, okay.
Like just taking these two and this one, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that you can't do anything about BC and CA then if you try to do it here, right? So what, just remember this part I'm writing down separately. So how do we simplify this? Minus AB minus BC minus CA. How do we understand this expression? This expression comes in many places. For example, if you have done a little algebra, you will know that this thing has a factorization. This thing can be factorized as this. Have you seen this ever before?
No.
So you have not seen this property that if a plus b plus c is 0, then a cube plus b cube plus c cube is 3abc? You never seen this? Okay, so that means that you have not done that much algebra. So we will do it later, don't worry. So right now just focus on this part. Focus on what we will do now to this C. So minus CA, right? Let's do a transformation, not transformation, just let's multiply up and down by 2, okay?
Yes.
Okay, and that's it. That's all that was required. So half, put the half outside and take the 2 inside. So you get what? 2a square plus 2b square plus 2c square minus 2ab minus 2bc minus 2ca, right?
Yeah.
And now see, very nicely it will work out, because you can write 2a square as a square plus a square, and I will collect a square and b square 1 from here, 1 from these two, and minus 2ab, right? And what is left? 1a square and 1b square is left, right?
Yeah.
Take that 1a square and collect 1c square, right? A square plus c square minus 2ca. And what is left? 1b square and 1c square are left now.
Oh, okay. So then you get a minus b whole square, a minus c whole square, a b minus c whole square.
So see, this is actually the same thing as this.
Yeah.
Right?
And since all squares are greater or equal than 0,
Hmm.
then that will also be greater or equal than 0.
Hmm. So
the discriminant is definitely real.
Discriminant is positive.
Yeah.
So basically,
roots are definitely real.
Roots are definitely real. So basically, pay attention to this transformation. It's very important, comes many times. Okay. So what we have done here is taken 2 inside and made it 2 times. Inside part will become a minus b whole square plus b minus c whole square plus c minus a whole square, right?
Yeah.
Just like this, the way we did it here, right? So now this is always positive, so roots are real, right?
Yeah.
So the question is basically testing whether first you are able to convert it into a quadratic equation, and then are you able to analyze the discriminant and think about whether it is positive or negative and all, right?
Yeah.
So there is one other case here. If A is equal to B is equal to C, right? Then this inside part is 0, right?
Yeah.
Right?
But it'll still be.
Then roots are equal, real and equal. Right? When discriminant is 0, roots are real and equal. Because there is only one root now, which is a repeated root, right?
Yes.
You understand that, no?
Yeah. Because then you'll just get 0 plus 0 plus 0.
So that is the special case. If A is equal to B is equal to C, you will get equal roots in this case. So that was this question. Then 14th one we have already discussed, I think, in class. 14th one was just powers and all.
14th one? Yeah, I think we have.
3 power x minus 1 can be written as
Because you
3
just became x divided by 1 and then
divided by 3.
x. And then you multiplied that out.
Yeah, you will take 3 power x as your variable t. You will get a quadratic in t, right?
Yeah.
Basically, you are doing 3 power x by 3 plus 3 by 3 power x is equal to 2, something like this.
Then you substituted that.
So it will become a quadratic equation which looks like this. So you will get t square plus 9 is equal to 60, right? So t square minus 60 plus 9 is equal to 0. So t must be 3 and 3 power x is equal to 3. So x must
So
be
x
1.
is 1.
So that is fairly simple. Then 15th one is again very simple. You just have to ensure that discriminant is 0. Look at 15th one. It is about equal roots.
Oh, so then that means only 1. So yeah, discriminant is 0.
So whatever is the discriminant of this, discriminant when you take, you will get an equation in terms of m, right?
Yeah.
And you have to make that equal to 0, so you'll get roots of m, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at 16th one. 16th one, why don't you try?
Okay, I'll try this one. B squared d 2ab. Okay. Minus a squared. I'm almost there. Give me a moment. Wait, what?
Hmm?
I got AD minus BC whole square is less than or equal to 0.
That means that can a square ever be less than 0?
No, it cannot.
So it has to be equal then.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense.
Yeah, then AD has to be BC, right?
Yeah.
You would have gotten till here, no?
Yes, I got till there. Yeah.
So then that means it
Oh,
cannot.
wait, you were doing it the same time as I was.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, it's nice.
right. So AD has to be BC then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is fairly okay. Then we'll look at one nice one. Question number 20. Question 20. This will combine theory from both progressions and from quadratic equations. Saying let alpha beta roots of alpha beta are roots of x square minus x plus p is equal to 0, and gamma and delta are roots of x square minus 4x plus q is equal to 0. Roots are gamma and delta. Square minus 4x plus q. Okay. Now he's saying if alpha, beta, gamma, delta are in GP, then what is he asking you for? Integral values of P and Q. Integral values of P and Q. Okay. You have understood the question.
Wait, can I read it again? Because not seems a bit off. I don't know. Wait. Yeah, now I
Just,
get it.
just read it once, you will get it. Read it calmly and without any hurry. Alpha, beta are roots of one equation. Gamma, delta are roots of another equation. And what is given is alpha, beta, gamma, delta are in GP.
In that order.
Yeah, in that order. If they have specified the order, then you don't have to worry about what is the other order.
Okay.
So in this order, they are in GP, and you have to find what are the possible integer values of P and Q. P and Q were the unknowns here. So basically, think about each quadratic and write all the information that is available to you about each quadratic, right? From Vietas, you have two relations at least.
Alpha plus beta, alpha beta.
Alpha plus beta will be equal to
Minus b over a. So 1.
And alpha into beta will be equal to
B.
And third one is gamma plus delta is equal to
4.
Fourth one is gamma delta is equal to Q. Okay. You have these things and you have alpha, beta, gamma, delta are in GP.
Yeah.
Great. So you
so
have to.
the alpha beta will be like what? The alpha times the
Common
common
ratio.
difference power 3.
Common ratio. So beta basically should be alpha into something, right?
Yeah.
You should have beta should be alpha into R.
Yeah.
Gamma should be alpha into R square.
Yeah.
And delta should be alpha into R cube, right?
Yeah.
So now instead of doing 4 variables alpha, beta, gamma, delta, you can write just 2 variables alpha and R, no?
Yeah.
So convert all of your known equations into equations just involving alpha and R.
So that becomes alpha 1 plus R. Wait, can we factorize or just, factorize?
No, you can do whatever you want to.
Okay.
You don't have to worry too much about it.
Oh,
Second one is alpha into
squared R
is equal to P. Third one is alpha R square.
Square plus 1
So like this is equal to 4.
or
And fourth one is alpha into alpha square into R power 5, right?
Yeah.
Is equal to Q, right?
Yeah.
These are my 4 equations. I have to find P and Q. I also have 2 other unknowns, which are alpha and R, right?
Yeah.
So technically I have 4 equations and 4 unknowns,
yeah.
right? So should be solvable. So try and solve it. Think of what you can do.
Okay, so in equation 1 and 3,
Hmm.
you have 1 plus r.
Hmm.
So 1 plus r is 1 divided by alpha. So then put that 1 divided by alpha times r square. Oh, no.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct. So you can just remove 1 plus R, right?
Yeah.
You can obviously divide 3 by 1. You can divide equation 3 by equation 1, right?
You get to get r. is
R
equal-
square, right? You will get R square left.
R square is equal to 4. So r is equal to 1.
R is equal
plus
to,
minus 2 plus minus.
but you will not put minus 2 because you know that this is bigger, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because you know that these are bigger numbers, so obviously it should not be minus 2, right?
Yeah.
So I'll ignore minus 2 for now. Maybe, okay, I will just keep it like this. We'll see later whether it's coming or not. But let's use the 2 value right now, right? So if R is 2, then alpha you can get from here.
Yeah.
Alpha is coming as 1 by 3. Correct?
Yeah.
So now P is what? P is simply alpha square into 2. So 2 by 9, right?
Yeah.
Alpha square is 1 by 9 into 2. 2 by 9. And
But
Q
didn't
is,
they want integral?
yeah, integral values they want. So something has gone wrong here. This one is coming, Q is coming what for us? Let's check. Alpha square is 1
third
by
times
9
32.
into 2 power 5. 32 by 9. Right? P and Q are coming out to be these. Okay, so maybe let's check the negative ones. Let's
But
check
you'll still get the same thing, right?
what?
You'll get the same thing, but
No, we won't get the same thing actually. See, R is equal to minus 2. If I put, what happens? Alpha into minus 1 is equal to 1, no?
oh, okay.
So alpha is coming as minus 1 in that case. And R is minus 2, right?
Yeah. So then P would also give
The
you minus.
integer. It will be an integer, right?
Yeah.
It will be minus 2 and Q will be alpha square is 1 and R power 5 is minus 32.
Minus 32.
So see, one of the options has minus 2 and minus 32, right?
So we don't reject any values of R.
You don't reject the possible values. You check which values are giving you answers which are reasonable or integral answers, right?
But if they didn't want an integral value,
Then
the
both are
other one's
possible.
still correct.
Otherwise, still correct. It's just that it's not integral. It's a rational value of P and Q, right?
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with the other one. So this question is combining both the chapters, right? Yeah. Okay. Then let's look at question number. Question number 31.
31.
Question 31. Question 31 is saying the number of values of A, the number of values of A for which A square minus 3A plus 2, A square minus 3A plus 2 multiplied by X square plus A square minus 5A plus 6 plus A square minus 5A plus 6 into X plus A square minus 4 plus A square minus 4 is equal to 0, right? This equation is an identity in X. is an
That for all values it's
correct,
true.
exactly, is an identity in X. So that means it should be true for all values of X.
Oh,
So
okay,
that's weird, right?
yeah.
Because normally quadratics, how can they be true for all values of X? You will not get, like, for
Unless
example,
it's like a square plus.
so think about what is the condition in which this quadratic will become an identity in X, right?
It's one of those special algebraic identities.
It is one of those.
Like a minus b whole square is a plus b whole square.
That is just an example of an identity that you are saying, right?
Yeah.
So what we are thinking about right now is, if there is an equation ax square plus bx plus c, how can you say that the equation will be true for all values of x, right? It doesn't seem likely, no? It should have only two values, right?
Unless x is equal to 0.
But then see, look
So
at
then
C.
a square minus 4 is always equal to 0.
Correct. So the idea here is that an equation can become an identity only if A is 0, B is 0, C is 0, na?
Yeah.
If this part is 0, then still this part will not always be 0 if you take a random value of x, right? Unless A is always 0, right?
Yeah. So like the coefficients have to be 0.
Correct. So this equation is an identity in X. If this is 0, so this will give plus minus 2, right?
Yeah.
And this is also 0. This will give 2 and 3, right?
Yeah.
And this is also 0, which will give
This will give you minus
1 and 2.
Yeah.
Right? So what is the common value of A, right?
Doesn't it give you minus 1 and minus 2?
No, this will give you 1 and 2. No, is A minus A square minus A minus 2A plus 2.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I forgot the signs reversed.
Right? So see that if I pick a value of 3, then this is not 0, no?
Yeah. So it has to be a equals to 2.
It has to be value which is common to all three, right?
Yeah.
So there is only one value of A. A is equal to 2, for which this equation is an identity, right? So this is an important principle, that a quadratic will become an identity if its coefficients are 0, all coefficients, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Then we move on. We go to question number.
This is a very smart question. Yeah. It
What?
took me a while to figure out
Which one?
that the identity meant the coefficients are 0.
Yeah. Let's do question number 40.
Okay.
Question number 40 is about common roots. Common roots. So what he's saying is, if quadratic equations, one quadratic equation is given on top, which is a minus b x square plus b minus c x plus c minus a is equal to 0, and a second quadratic equation is given, which is 2a minus b minus c x square, 2a minus b minus c x square plus 2b minus c minus ax plus 2b minus c minus a x plus 2c minus a minus b, right? Correct.
Yes.
These two quadratics, apparently they have one common root. Have a common root. What do we mean by a common root?
One of the alpha betas or both others
are same. Correct. So then we have to find out what then. Oh, they have asked us to find the common, given by what? Correct. They're asking us to find the common root itself.
I think we're supposed to use Viettra solutions.
Okay, this is actually very easy, but I wanted to show you something, but the question is too easy. So I will not say anything. You will be able to find the answer yourself.
Okay.
You have to actually find the common root here, right?
Yeah.
Let's just think about the equations. It will be obvious to you fairly soon.
It's always like the previous, like the first equation minus some other term.
Which one? First equation minus some other term.
So like it was alpha minus beta. Then for the second one, it's a minus bx squared. Then it's 2a minus b minus cx squared.
Correct. Basically, you have to have alpha is a solution for this also, and alpha is a solution for this also. You have to find that alpha.
Yeah.
If you look at it closely and look at the options also, you will get the idea. Look at the options once.
Alpha, beta. I mean, I don't know. It seems like 1. I don't know why.
Why don't you know? It seems like 1. Obviously, it is 1. Why are you unsure? Check 1, put 1 here.
Okay, I get it now. Because when you just put alpha minus beta, a minus b plus b minus c plus c minus a. Yeah.
1 satisfies this clearly. 1 satisfies this also. Because
Yeah, it
see,
does.
2a plus 2b plus 2c, and this becomes minus 2 times a plus b plus c.
Yeah. Now it makes. Yeah, it does.
So 1 is a common root, clearly very easy. But if it was not like that, if the equation was not that you could immediately spot that 1 is a common root, how would we have done it then, right? So like I want to solve this condition. I want to solve this a1x square plus b1x plus c1 is equal to 0 is my quadratic equation 1. And let's say a2x square plus b2x plus c2 is my quadratic equation 2, right? And let's say they have a common root. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the question could have asked you, what is the condition on a1 b1? What is the condition on a1 b1 c1 a2 b2 c2 such that they have a common root? Like there should be some relations between the equations, right? Then only they will have a common root.
Yeah.
So what is the connection? What is the condition on the coefficients? So that is the theory that
Whether
you.
the coefficients are the same.
If they are the same, then both the roots are common, right?
Yeah.
But if you have to have only one common root, right, then the condition will be a little more complicated, right? If a1 equal to a2, b1 equal to b2, c1 equal to c2, then obviously it's not two equations, it's just one equation, right?
Oh yes, yeah.
Then both the roots are same, right?
Yeah.
So that is a trivial case. That case we are not thinking about. We are thinking about a more complicated case where this could have roots alpha, beta, and this has roots alpha, gamma, right?
That means just the coefficients have the same sum.
Just one root is common, right? Coefficients don't have the same sum, right? Nothing is same, right? Only one thing is same, alpha. Correct?
Yeah.
So in that case, what do we do? So let's do it here. a1x square plus b1x plus c1 is equal to 0. It has a root alpha, let's say. So therefore, we can write an equation a1 alpha square plus b1 alpha plus c1 is equal to 0, right?
Yes.
And similarly, in the other equation, a2x square plus b2x plus c2 is equal to 0. That also alpha should satisfy, right?
Yeah.
So you get another equation a2 alpha square plus b2 alpha plus c2 is equal to 0, right?
Yes.
Now these two equations, I will manipulate these equations to get some results. So let's see how. So first what I will do is solve for alpha here. Okay. Solve for alpha means I have to remove this alpha square term somehow. Okay. These are two equations in two unknowns. Let's think about alpha square as another unknown, right? And alpha as an unknown. So I can solve these equations for alpha, no? Linear equations these are. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I will do is multiply the top equation by A2, multiply the bottom equation by A1 and subtract.
Oh.
What does that
If
do?
you,
Top
oh,
equation.
that lets you cancel out the alpha square.
Exactly. So A2B1 alpha plus A2C1 is equal to 0, and denominator lower equation becomes A1A2 alpha square plus A1B2 alpha plus A1C2 is equal to 0, right? And now when you subtract, you will cancel out this term. You will get A2B1 minus A1B2 alpha plus A2C1 minus A1C2, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So we are able to solve for alpha, and alpha is coming out to be for us A1C2 minus A2C1 by A2B1 minus A1B2, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So that is the first step. Now the second step is basically now I will solve for alpha square. So I have to cancel out the alpha term. Okay. So I'll multiply this by B2 and I'll multiply this by B1 and do the same subtraction.
Yeah.
That will make it B1, B2, B1, B2, right?
Yeah, true.
So I will just write the answers here. So it will become A1, B2 minus A2, B1 alpha square plus C1, B2 minus C2, B1, right? After subtraction.
Yeah, yeah.
I have cancelled this and this. I have multiplied this one by B2 and this one by B1, right?
Yeah.
And subtracted. So I should get this, right? Correct.
Yeah.
So alpha square is coming out to be C2B1 minus C1B2 by A1B2 minus A2B1, right?
Yep.
Now we are almost done, because now we have two different looking relations which we are getting for alpha and alpha square, right?
Wait, can I read that again?
So what I'm
Alpha
saying is
squared will give.
yeah,
Alpha
alpha square is coming as C2B1 minus C1B2 by this thing, right?
Yeah.
And alpha was coming as C1A2 and C2A1 and these terms, right?
Yeah.
So
So you
these,
can factorize.
no need to factorize
no.
anything. You can't do anything because each of these are different numbers, right?
Oh yeah, but you can square.
Exactly. What we can say is, since alpha is this and alpha square is this square must be equal to this, right?
Oh, it's a lot of algebra.
No, you don't have to simplify it. You have to leave it here.
Oh
So
yeah.
I will say this square should be equal to this, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yep.
This condition has to be true for one common root, right?
Yeah.
For one common root. Now what we will do is confirm whether what we have gotten is correct. First of all, remember the process by which we got it. Okay. So we had two totally different looking equations, right?
Yeah.
And we had one common root alpha. So we said that let's say alpha satisfies both equations. So we get two equations involving alpha square, alpha and all, right?
Yeah.
Using these two equations, one time eliminate the alpha square term by multiplying and subtracting, right? And you will get a relationship for alpha, right?
Yeah.
And the second time, remove the alpha term so that you get a relation for alpha square, right?
Yeah.
And once you have something for alpha and something for alpha square, square of the alpha thing must be equal to this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now what we will do is we will check this theory, this result that we have gotten for a simple case and see whether it is coming out to be true or not. Okay, so that we are convinced that it is correct. Now, obviously, I don't expect you to try to remember this square thing, this thing.
The subtraction, I think, is the most important.
That is most important. You're not expected to remember this. You're expected to derive it yourself. Whenever the question is given, you are expected to do these steps, the steps that I did, the subtractions and all, right? And getting the alpha. So let's verify this relation at least by checking two equations. Let's say one equation is this, x square minus 3x plus 2 is equal to 0, right? It has roots what? 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And let's construct a new equation, x square minus 5x plus 6. It has roots what? 2 and
Minus
3.
2, yeah, 2 and 3.
So 2 is a common root, right?
Yeah.
And there is only one common root, right?
Yeah.
So now check, a1 is 1, b1 is minus 3, c1 is 2, right?
Yeah.
a2 is 1, b2 is minus 5, and c2 is 6, right?
Yeah.
Now we will confirm whether this relation is coming true or not, right?
Okay.
So let's find the RHS here, C2B1. So 6 into minus 3 minus C1B2, 2 into minus 5, right?
Yeah.
Divided by A1B2. A1 is 1, B2 is minus 5, minus A2B1. A2B1, 1 into minus 3, right? So
Yeah.
this thing is coming out to a minus 18 plus 10. So minus 8 by minus 5 plus 3, right? So minus 2 coming out to be 4, okay? The RHS is coming to be 4. Let's calculate the LHS. What is A1 C2? 1 into A1 is 1, C2 is 6, minus A2 C1, minus 1 into C1 is 2, divided by A2 B1. 1 into B1 is minus 3, minus A1 B2, minus 1 into B2 is minus 5, right? Correct?
Yeah.
So 6 minus 2, 4 on top, and minus 3 plus 5. So 2 in denominator. So this is 2. 2
And then
square
you
is 4,
square it.
right? So the relation that we derived is correct. Okay. For a random equation, which one common root, it is working out, right?
Hmm.
But what I want you to take away is the method by which we got this. Obviously, because in the exam, you'll not be able to remember this. This is hard to remember. Don't even try. Right?
Yeah.
What you should do is, you know how to handle a common root situation, right? If it comes, you will be able to do it, the whole process that we got, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I mean,
think the main part is remembering to treat alpha and alpha square separately.
yeah, solving for them separately.
Then
Ye-
you can. That's just algebraic manipulation.
Okay. Then let's look at. Okay. Okay, so let's practice what we have learned right now. 55, question 55.
That's 55. Oh, okay. Interesting.
There are two equations given. He's saying they have a common.
Okay, so firstly, we know that one value of x will be alpha. So we put in the alpha square.
Put in the equation.
Yeah.
The second equation is
X square minus 4m plus 2.
X square minus 4m plus 2 equal to 0.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That is slightly weird because there's no x term in the second one, right?
Oh, wait, what? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
So, okay. Okay, fine.
Wait, how can that be me know it.
It's fine.
Oh,
It
maybe
is-
the 4m is part of the C then.
it is part of the C. There is no X term. So B is 0 here, right?
Oh,
They have a common root. Do the same process that you have learned. Common root. So let's put alpha.
3 alpha
3
square.
alpha square minus 2
minus
m
2m
alpha minus 4 is equal to 0. One equation. Second equation is alpha square minus 4m plus 2 is equal to 0. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
So now we multiply the first one by 1 and the second equation by 3. And we
First, second equation, let's multiply by 3. Yeah. So 3 alpha square minus 12m
12m plus 6
is equal to 0 and subtract. So you will get minus 2m alpha
minus 4
minus
equals
4.
to 12m minus 6.
This is what is coming. No, after subtracting, the signs will change here, right?
Yeah.
So you will get alpha. You can solve for here. 2m alpha is equal to 12m minus 10, right? So alpha will be equal to divided by 2m. So 2 will cancel 6m minus 5 by m, right?
Yeah.
This is my alpha,
Yeah.
correct? Now, actually, in this one, since the second one doesn't have a alpha term, we don't need to solve for that, right? See,
Yeah.
right now you have eliminated alpha square and immediately you got alpha, right?
Yeah. So
You-
then you
so then
can't
let's,
subtract away that 2m alpha.
you cannot subtract away this and get alpha square, no?
So I think you just substitute in.
Exactly.
and
So
solve.
just put it in this, no? Now. This should satisfy the second equation, right?
Yeah.
So 6m minus 5 by m whole square should be equal to 4m minus 2, right? 36m square plus 25 minus 2 into 5 into 6. So 60m should be equal to m square will come this side, m square divided, it will come this side. So 4m cube minus 2m square, right?
Yeah.
So let's collect all the terms on one side. So 4m cube minus 2m square minus 36. So minus 38m square plus 60m minus 25 is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the equation that is coming. You have to find the values of m here. Minus 25. Okay. Finding the values of m here will be slightly annoying because now you have to guess some roots, right? So this is not the ideal question to practice what we learned, but fine. Now you have to solve this basically. How to solve this?
Can we just use the quadratic formula?
There is no quadratic, no, it's a cubic. That is the unfortunate problem.
Oh, so you can't factorize out. Oh,
It's a cubic, so now we have to think of some good factors, right? There is no standard way to solve a cubic, okay? There is a standard way, but that way is very difficult, which I have not told you yet. You know that cubics and fourth degree equations can also be solved, but the standard method for solution of those is slightly hard.
It's like some theorem or something.
Cardano's theorem, there is Ferrari's solution, Cardano's solution. These are slightly advanced stuff which I have not yet discussed with you. So we will do it in some time. But right now, if you are getting a cubic, the only way for you to solve a cubic is to be able to guess one root. Like if you can guess that what value of m satisfies this, right? Then you will be able to sort of solve it. If you cannot guess, then it will be slightly problematic.
One doesn't work.
One doesn't work. So let's try. Now here, because the options are there, we can try some good options, right? We can try half. Let's try half, right? So if you do half, 4 by 8 minus 38 by 4 plus 30 minus 25, right? So this is 19 by 2 and this is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 minus 19 by 2 is minus 9. So it doesn't work. Half doesn't work. 1 by 3, let's try. 4 by 27 minus 38 by 9 plus 20 minus 25. So you get minus 5 here and minus 5 and minus 38. It will not work again. This is also not working. So I feel like there is a typing mistake in the question and 4m should have an x.
Yeah, otherwise it would be quite weird.
It is becoming quite weird. I feel like there is a mistake. It might have been an x here.
I want to put this in my calculator, see if we get anything.
Okay, put this one in your calculator then. It solves polynomial equations, your calculator.
Yeah,
Which one is it? Scientific calculator.
yeah. Okay, it's a bunch of decimals.
Okay. So is it 1 by root 3? Check 1 by root 3 value. Is it coming close to that?
1 by root 3. Okay. 1 by root 3. No, it's not close.
1 by root 3 and 1 by root 2 you should check because those are the two other options.
Oh, 1 by root 2. Let me check again. 0.707.
Hmm.
Uh,
I don't think it will be correct. I think they have made a mistake in writing the question. It should be x square minus 4mx plus 2.
yeah, it's not near 1 by root 2 either.
Okay, so then the question is slightly wrong and you can revert. If it was an x term was there, then you know what to do, right?
Yeah, same method. Just
Same
different
method.
types of
Huh.
numbers.
Yeah. So we'll ignore this then and we'll move on. Okay. So so why don't you now, you can look at the quadratic equation exercise booklet and do a little more later. Let's go over to the progression part.
Progressions. Okay.
So if they have any problems there, then we can solve those.
I stopped at question 15 for this.
And before that, any difficulties?
Yeah, I did not know how to do. Okay, question 11, I actually got 27, but 27 was not an option.
Okay. Question 11, before that, any issues? Before 20?
No. Question 13 and 14 I didn't do though. And I
Okay.
didn't do question 12 also because I wasn't sure.
Okay,
I haven't
fine.
done triangles.
Okay, fine.
Or stuff.
Question 11, let's look at that. 2x minus 1, 4x minus 1, 7 plus 2x are in GP.
So here I put x as 1 because it seemed obvious.
Wait, why are you putting values?
Oh, because I noticed if it's in GP, the common ratio would be 3 if you put in
No,
x as 1.
but this is not a guessing game, no? You don't have to put values and guess the things. You have to solve it like a proper mathematician. Why are you guessing? I mean, putting x and 1 and all is fine, but it is not said that x is 1 and all. No?
Yeah, I know.
So don't guess anything. Just if they are in GP, what is the property that they must satisfy?
They have a common ratio.
So basically,
So 7 plus 2x divided by 4x minus 1 is equal. So yeah, I did that method also.
so that method is the correct method. This is true, this thing.
Yeah, that's what I got.
3 numbers are in GP, you can always say middle number square should be equal to first and last number, no?
Yeah.
So 4x minus 1 square should be equal to 7 plus 2x multiplied by 2x minus 1, right? So this becomes a quadratic equation that you can definitely solve. I'm just expanding this 4x minus 1 square and this one. So 14x minus 7 plus 4x square minus 2x, right?
Yeah.
So converting, bringing all of it to one side, you'll get 12x square minus 8x minus 14x becomes minus 22 plus 2. So minus 20x and plus 1 plus 7 plus 8 is equal to 0. right? So cancel off the 4 from here. 3x square minus 5x plus 2 is equal to 0. Now easily factorizable, right?
Yeah.
So you get 3x x minus 1 minus 2 x minus 1, right? So
Yeah.
either x minus 1 or 3x minus 2, right? So x is either 1 or it is 2 by 3. Okay.
Yeah.
The possible values of x, you have found out 1 already. When you put x is equal to 1, this becomes 1, this becomes 3, and this becomes 9, right?
Yeah.
And the other number now should be 27, which you could not see in the options, right?
Yeah.
But clearly you could not have ever guessed 2 by 3, right?
Yeah.
Obviously 2 by 3 will come only if you solve it like this.
Yeah.
So you just had to solve the quadratic, okay? So now if you put 2 by 3, see what happens. 4 by 3 minus 1 is 1 by 3 first term. Second term is 8 by 3 minus 1. So that is becoming 5 by 3. And next term will be 7 plus 4 by 3, which is 21 plus 4, 25 by 3, right? So the next term after that will be multiply this by 5 again. So 125 by 3, right?
Yeah.
125 by 3 will be in the option. You understand?
Yeah.
You got know how to do.
Yeah. I just didn't think of the b square equals ac part.
B square is equal to AC part. If you do, you get a nice quadratic and that gives you all the answers, right?
Yeah.
So that is the thing. Question number 12. 12 is a triangle question, but we can try it a little bit. Like, let's see. If in any triangle, angles are in AP, right?
Yeah.
Question 12, triangle ABC, angles A, B, and C are in AP, right? You have to find out the value of sine of 2B, right?
Yeah.
You have just now learned a little bit of trigonometry in school, right?
Yeah.
So now we know, you know that angles of a triangle sum is what? 180, right? Right?
Yeah.
And angles are in AP. So what is the condition for 3 numbers to be in AP? Middle number double 2B should be equal to A plus C, no?
Yeah.
You understand this condition, right?
Yes, because the common difference multiplies.
Because B minus A should be C minus B, right?
Yeah.
That's why. So 2B is equal to A plus C. Then A plus B plus C, I can replace A plus C with 2B, right? 2B plus B, this will become.
Yeah.
So 3B is equal to 180, no?
Yeah.
So B is 60 degree.
Yeah.
So sine of 2B is basically sine of 120 degree, right?
Oh, okay.
You understand how A plus B plus C became 2B plus B, right? Because A plus C is 2B.
Yeah.
So you immediately got one angle is 60. So the sine 2B became sine 120. When you do a little more trigonometry, you will know that the angles beyond 90 degree also you can find. So I will just tell you the answer right now. We will discuss this later. So sine 120 is equal to sine 60. And sine 60 you already know is root 3 by 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So answer of this one will be root 3 by 2, which depends on the knowledge that sine of 180 minus theta is equal to sine theta. And here, if you write sine of 180 minus 60, that will be equal to sine 60, right? So this is 120. Okay. So we will do that trigonometry part here, but you should have been able to find angle B as 60 degree yourself also. That was not trigonometry. Right? Okay. Question number 13 you got? No.
13 and 14 I skipped.
Okay, so let's do 13 and 14. 13 is first thing that is given is 1 plus 2 plus 3 till 49 is equal to x. 2 plus 3 till 49 is given as x. And you are being asked to find out 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube, right? 2 cube plus 3 cube till x, till what cube? 49 cube. Yeah, till 49 cube is what? Correct?
Yep.
Okay. Now there is, see, this is an AP, right?
Yeah.
AP with first term A is equal to 1, common difference is 1, and how many terms are there? N is equal to 49.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sum of this AP will be 49 by 2 into first term plus last term, right?
Yeah.
So it will be 49 into 25, right?
Yeah.
Is equal to x. So finding x is not an issue, but finding this is a slight issue, because right now it will not be an AP now.
Yeah.
Because first term is 1, second term is 8, third term is 27, next term is 64, right?
Yeah.
And so on, so on, so on till 49 cube. So actually there is a formula for this. Sum of the squares of first n terms or sum of the cubes of first n terms, there is a nice formula. The derivation of that formula is slightly tricky. Like, have you ever heard of the thing called mathematical induction?
No, but my math teacher mentioned it once, I think.
So there is a method of proof called induction, mathematical induction, and that is a very powerful method that you will learn. Maybe I can tell you right now. So I'll tell you right now. Okay, so what I want to prove is this claim. My claim is 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square till n square is equal to n into n plus 1, 2n plus 1 by 6. Okay. I have this, somebody has said that this sum is equal to this. Okay. And I want to prove this.
Oh wait, I think my I think my Olympiad teacher has taught me this.
Yeah. So how do you prove this then? The proof is by induction. Okay.
Yeah,
So
1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus n square equals n plus 1 2n minus 1 upon 6. And then 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube is all the way, it becomes n square n plus 1 whole square divided by 4.
yeah, but knowing the answer and knowing the proof are different things, though.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the result. So this is what you should have used in that question. So this is equal to n into n plus 1 by 2, right? So in the question, he said that till 49, this is equal to x, right? And he was asking this, right? 49 cube, right?
Yeah.
So that will just be x square, no? The answer is x square. See? There's a clear connection between the first, this one, and third one, right?
Yeah.
If this is called x, n into n plus 1 by 2 is called x, then this is x square clearly, no?
Yeah.
So the first one in the question in the booklet, what is saying is 1 to 49 sum is x, then 1 cube till 49 cube. That will be simply x square. That is the answer. But what I want to show you here is how to prove this. Okay. So we will not worry about what the answers and all are and the x and all. What we'll be worried about is how to prove this thing. So first what we'll do is prove this basic statement, this one. So method of induction is a very powerful method. It helps you prove statements when statements depend on n, right? So here, this claim that you have is a claim that is true for all integers up to n, right? Now, n can be anything here. N can be 1. Then what is the sum of first 1 square, right? So 1 square only, right? If you put n is 1, then you only have one term, no? You cannot have 2 and 3, right?
Yeah.
So see this side what comes 1 into 1 plus 1 and 2 plus 1 by 6. So this is 2 into 3, 6 by 6, right?
Yeah.
So it is satisfied for n is equal to 1, right? The claim is true for n is equal to 1. Let's check it for n is equal to 2. So this side, what do you have? 1 square plus 2 square, right? So that is simply 5 on this side, right?
Wait, so we're just proving it by examples?
No, we are not proving it by examples. I'm just showing you some examples to get a sense of it.
Yeah, because the
Right.
derivation seems very, I don't know how they even got it.
So right now we're just checking some examples to get a hang of it. We're not proving it right.
Yeah.
So if you put 2 now here, what happens? 2 into 3 into 2 into 2 plus 1. So 5 by 6. So see, it fits, right?
Yeah.
So basically it looks like the claim is true, but that is not a proof, right? Checking examples is not a proof. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it could be wrong for some other number. We have not checked all numbers, right? Correct.
Yeah.
And it is impossible to check all numbers. So the way you do it is by first think of this statement. This statement is a collection of infinite statements, no? Because n can keep changing, right?
Yeah.
So actually, if you say something like this, basically you're saying it for all values of integers n, right?
Yeah.
So you are not just saying one thing, you're saying an infinite number of things, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So how to prove an infinite set of statements, right? That is the thing. For all n, I have to prove this, right? So think of it as going up on a ladder or a staircase. Think of it as a staircase and you are climbing up on a staircase, okay? And you are standing here right now. And this is n is equal to 1, this is n is equal to 2, this is n is equal to 3. Let's say this is n is equal to k, and this is n is equal to k plus 1, right?
Yeah.
And the staircase goes up forever, right? Correct.
Yeah.
Now, think of proving this as stepping on the staircase. So, first thing that you have to do is take a first step, right?
Yeah.
You have to come here, right? So,
Yeah.
first we check base case. This is called base case. Base case means, are you able to step on the staircase at least, right?
Yeah.
Are you able to begin the problem also or not, right? So, we check the lowest possible value. For n is equal to 1, we found that the claim is true, right? Correct.
Yeah.
So n is equal to 1, we found claim is true. That means you are on the staircase now. You are standing on the staircase here, right? Correct.
Yeah.
Great. So now the problem is that I cannot keep checking everything, right?
So you choose a random number or you put an algebraic statement.
So you cannot keep checking everything. So we want a way to prove that if I prove one thing, then it will be true for everyone, right?
Yeah.
That is what we want to somehow get, right? So
Yeah.
the second step, this is called the base step. The second step is called the induction step. Induction step is the most important step. Here, forget about the base case now. Think of yourself. Let's say you are on this step here, on the staircase. Assume that you are on this step. You are on this step means it is true for n is equal to k, right?
Yeah.
You have reached this portion of the staircase means that the claim is true for n is equal to k, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you can, if it is true for n is equal to k, can you go up to a higher step from here? That is the question. Can you take the next step and come up here, right? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You are trying to say that if I am at some step, can I take a next higher step?
Yeah.
Right. So what we will be proving in this induction step is that if the claim is true, if the claim is true for n is equal to k, is it also true for n is equal to k plus 1? Right?
Yeah.
Because that is a very powerful statement, because that means that no matter where you are, you can always go to the next level, right?
Yeah.
So let's check whether this induction step is correct or not. Induction step is correct or not. How do we check that? Let's say statement is true for n is equal to k, right? So 1 square plus 2 square till k square should be equal to k, k plus 1, 2k plus 1 by 6, right? This is statement for n is equal to k, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now, what we have to prove? Prove one
Is it's
square.
the same with k plus 1 whole square.
It is the same for k plus 1 whole square also. So this is the left hand side if I put n is equal to k plus 1, and the right hand side if I put n is equal to k plus 1 will be, instead of n I'll put k plus 1, then next one is k plus 2, then next one is 2 into k plus 1, so 2k plus 2 plus 1, right, by 6,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is what I have to prove, and now I have
Oh, and then you just have to subtract and see if it equates to k plus 1 whole square.
so exactly. So we just have to assume that it is already true for here, right? So let's just put the value till here. We know the value, no? We don't know this is the thing, right? So let's just put the value here. K plus 1, 2k plus 1 by 6 plus k plus 1 whole square, right? We are checking the left hand side, right?
Yeah.
So take k plus 1 common here, k plus 1 common from both the terms. So it becomes k into 2k plus 1 by 6 plus k plus 1, right?
Yeah.
So that becomes k plus 1 common, k plus 1 common. This side inside part becomes k into 2k plus 1 plus 6k plus 6 by 6, right? Correct?
Yeah.
So this becomes 2k square plus k plus 6k. So plus 7k plus 6 by 6, right? And
Yeah.
see that the inside part is factorizable because I can do 2k square plus 4k plus 3k plus 6, right? By 6, right? So this becomes
Then
2k common k plus 2 and plus 3 common k plus 2, right? So it
Yeah.
becomes 2k plus 3 k plus 2 by 6, right? And outside there is a k plus 1. So now see, it is becoming k plus 1, k plus 2, 2k plus 3 by 6, right?
Yeah.
Which is the right hand side.
Yeah, it is.
So basically what we have just shown is that if the statement is true for n is equal to k, right? It is also true for n is equal to k plus 1, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
Then it has to be true for, to be
The
true,
difference.
has to be true for n is equal to k plus 1, right? So now think of your ladder again, think of your staircase again. That just means that if I am ever at any step, I can always go to the next higher step, right?
Yeah.
Right? So this is called the induction step. Now this induction step helps you actually prove it for all n. No? Now you don't have to do anything because we have already checked that you are able to get on the ladder, get on the staircase. No, n is equal to 1 we checked, right?
Yeah.
Correct? N is equal to 1 was true and induction step is true. That means you can go to n is equal to 2 now, right?
Yeah.
From 1 to 2 you can make the next step. From 2 to 3 you can make the next step. From 3 to 4 you can make the next step because of the induction step.
Okay.
You are understanding what is happening?
Yeah, I get it. I've done something similar for another APGP question where we had to prove like SN plus 1 and all that.
So the idea of induction is that first prove base case. Base case means can you step on the ladder? Can you get on it at least, right? Base case is basically n is equal to 1 or some low value of n, right?
Yeah.
And the next step is the most important step, which is saying assume it is true for n equal to k, assume n is equal to k, and from there can you prove for n is equal to k plus 1, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to prove, right? So if both the steps are correct, then then the statement is true for all n. Then the statement is true for all n, because clearly now you will be able to go up to any n, na?
Yeah.
Because you can start with n is equal to 1 and keep taking that induction step. Put n is equal to 1, you will be able to go to 2. Put n is equal to 5, you will be able to go to 6, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So every integer value you can just confirm by checking these two things, right?
Yeah.
So that is mathematical induction. So by mathematical induction, you will be able to prove that 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube plus n cube is equal to n into n plus 1 by 2 whole square. You can prove this now, because first what you will do, prove base case for n is equal to 1, right? N is equal to 1, so it is just 1 cube this side, and this side is 1 into 2 by 2 whole square, right? Which is 1 square, right? Correct?
Yeah.
So base
Yeah.
case is already proved. Now assume it is true for k step, right? So let's say we have 1 cube plus 2 cube plus k cube is equal to k plus 1 by 2 whole square. And now what do you have to prove? Knowing this fact, you have to prove that 1 cube plus 2 cube till k plus 1 cube, right, is equal to, put k plus 1 here, so k plus 1, k plus 2 by 2 whole square, right?
Yeah.
You have to prove this one by using this one. So put the value of 1 to k cube inside. So I will just write k into k plus 1 by 2 whole square plus k plus 1 whole cube, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Take k plus 1 whole square common from this, k plus 1 whole square common. So this side will be k square by 4 plus k plus 1, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So when you simplify it, it becomes k square plus 4k plus 4, and outside there is k plus 1 whole square, and there is a denominator 4, and clearly this is k plus 2 whole square, no?
Yeah.
So see, it is becoming k plus 1 whole square, k plus 2 whole square by 2 square, right?
Yeah.
So you have established the induction step also, and now you don't need to do anything, because now you can start off the series with n is equal to 1, and you don't need to actually check, but you know already that 2 will also be true, and if 2 is true, then 3 will be true, right?
Yep.
So this method is super powerful, and in many Olympiad questions you need to use induction. So you should actually go and check out Brilliant. There is a nice website, Brilliant, or you can check out AOPS. Art
Oh
of
yeah, I
Prob-
have AOPS.
So Brilliant or AOPS, check out induction. They might have some pages on explaining what is mathematical induction, or you can go to Khan Academy or YouTube or something also.
Yeah.
But just generally refer to some place and read up a little more about induction. It's one of the most powerful methods of proof available. So you will be using it again and again as you learn more maths. So that is important. What we can do is we can stop at this point for now and try a few more questions. But next class onwards, I will start a new topic. I will do a little bit of sums and products. Okay. And you can keep practicing though. Don't stop this just because we are moving on in topics. Okay.
Yeah.
So because these exercises, there are a lot of exercises here, and right now you're not yet finished most of it, right? So the more questions you do, the better you will feel about the whole thing. Quadratics, progressions, and series, it will be better. So problems and all, if there are any problems, just let me know, and we will discuss them in the next coming classes and all. But theoretically, we will move on ahead. Okay. Okay. I will send you the link for the recording. I will upload it on my channel and you can see it later. Okay. The class is being recorded, so it will be up there. So I will send you the link.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's all for now then. I'll see you. Next class will be on Tuesday, right? Tuesday is our day. No, Friday is our day.
Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have 4-5 days for practice more questions, and we'll be starting with sums and products. So sums and products is basically just 1 or 2 classes. I just want to show you some techniques of doing sums and products.
Is there anything you want me to read on before the class so I can understand?
No, you don't need to read anything for this. You need to keep practicing your 2 sheets and read up on induction.
Okay. Yeah.
Read up on induction and keep practicing the 2 sheets. You have still a lot of questions there, right?
Yeah. And can you send the video recordings of?
Yeah. I'll send the link by tonight.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.